We arrived in Niagara Falls earlier than expected and decided to see if we could check in at the hotel ahead of schedule. Fortunately, we were allowed to do so as our room was already prepared and available. This was a welcome relief after the journey and we appreciated convenience. After settling in, we took some time to rest. For the next few hours, we simply sat together in quiet appreciation of the view from our room. The Oaks Hotel, where we stayed, offered a stunning perspective overlooking the falls. From our window, we could see not only the majestic cascade of water, but also the surrounding landscape. People strolling along the walkways, cars slowly moving through the streets, and the horizon stretching far into the distance. It was a peaceful and almost meditative experience, made all the more special by the stillness we shared. The room itself was clean, comfortable, and well appointed. The bed was especially inviting, but the true highlight was the large picture window that framed the view like a living painting. The atmosphere of the space encouraged rest and reflection, and we found ourselves enjoying the quiet luxury of simply being there. The hotel as a whole made a good impression. In the lobby, there was complimentary coffee and a selection of beverages available throughout the day, which added a thoughtful touch to the overall experience. I don't quite remember whether breakfast was included, but the amenities and setting more than made up for any uncertainty. Overall, our time at the Oaks Hotel was a pleasant and memorable part of our visit to Niagara Falls. The comfort of the room, the breathtaking view, and the peaceful moments of stillness made for a lovely beginning to our stay. After resting for a while in the hotel, we decided it was time to explore the area around Niagara Falls. Before setting off, we stopped by a nearby subway to have a quick meal and satisfy our hunger. With something in our stomachs, we began walking towards the falls, taking our time and capturing photos along the way. It was the kind of afternoon that felt ideal for a walk. The sun had softened, no longer harsh overhead, casting a gentle light across the landscape. The air was neither too warm nor too cold. It was a mild spring day, comfortable and calm. Although the season had begun to shift, remnants of winter still lingered. We could see patches of ice along the banks of the river, quiet reminders that snow had fallen as recently as the week before, as reported in the news. Despite that, the weather during our visit was pleasant and inviting. As we reached the promenade, the area had begun to fill with people. It was clear that many were visitors like us, tourists eager to experience one of the world's great natural wonders. The crowd moved slowly, people taking photos, pausing to admire the view, chatting and laughing in different languages. The sun, now approaching the horizon, cast a golden hue across the entire scene. Long shadows stretched out over the walkway, and the light took on that warm, magical quality. The sky was clear, adding to the beauty of the moment. Perfect conditions for an evening stroll. The Niagara Parkway Promenade runs through Queen Victoria Park, a beautifully maintained stretch that invites walkers, joggers, and cyclists alike. It's lined with gardens, benches, and frequent viewpoints that offer breathtaking vistas of both the falls and the surrounding gorge. We made our way slowly along the path, stopping now and then to sit, take photos, or simply appreciate the view. Time passed gently as we watched the changing light, staying until the sun dipped low on the horizon. Looking up from the promenade, we could see the hotels perched above the falls, their windows catching the evening light. The entire area is remarkably pedestrian-friendly, making it easy to explore on foot. As we approached the falls themselves, the distant roar of water became more distinct. The sound gradually grew louder, a mix of calming rhythm and raw, relentless power. It was impossible not to be drawn in. Standing near the falls, we were struck by the sheer immensity of the water cascading over the edge. The volume and force were difficult to comprehend, even while watching it with our own eyes. The scene, so often seen in photographs and videos, felt entirely different in person, more powerful, more alive. We stood in awe, quietly taking it all in, unable to look away. It was a humbling moment, one of those rare times when nature completely commands your attention. After spending hours simply being present with the falls, it was finally time to move on. Evening had arrived and hunger began to return. We walked back towards the city in search of dinner, uncertain about where to eat. Eventually, we came across a Papa John's. Tired and undecided, but hungry, we chose the familiar option. We ordered pizza and some wings, a simple, satisfying end to a remarkable day. Morning arrived slowly. We had decided the night before not to rush, choosing instead to sleep in and make the most of our time in the comfort of the hotel. The bed was warm and inviting, the room quiet, and the view from the large window still just as captivating as the day before. We took our time waking up, enjoying a peaceful morning in silence. With coffee in hand, we sat by the window, watching the world outside slowly come to life. There was no need to hurry, just a quiet appreciation of the moment, the space, and the view. By the time we checked out, the weather had changed. Rain had begun to fall, and the sky hung low and gray. It was one of those quiet, steady rains that softens the edges of everything it touches. The mood felt subdued, reflective. Though the sun was gone and the sky was heavy, the place still retained its charm. We were grateful that the weather had held out the day before, allowing us to explore and enjoy the falls under golden skies. As we left Niagara, maps directed us onto a less familiar route, apparently a quicker one. It led us through quiet, remote areas far from the main highways. We passed vast stretches of farmland, open fields dotted with occasional barns and country homes. The landscape was calm and expansive, with a gentle rhythm that felt like something from a movie scene. Rolling fields, long stretch of roads, and clusters of trees lined the horizon. It was a side of the region we hadn't expected to see. Though the route took us far from the tourist areas, it offered a different kind of beauty, simple, rural, and peaceful. As newcomers to this country, we found it refreshing and unfamiliar, each turn revealing something quietly picturesque. It was all new to us, except for Jake, who had seen these kinds of places before. For the rest of us, it was a small glimpse into another side of Canada, one that felt both cinematic and serene. Even with the rain and overcast skies, there was something comforting about the drive. It gave us time to reflect, to talk, or simply watch the scenery pass by. The trip continued, not as an ending, but as a gentle transition from one part of the experience to the next. We hadn't had lunch since checking out of the hotel earlier that day, so we decided to stop at the outlet mall for a meal. We had already planned to visit the outlets, not only for lunch, but also because we needed new shoes. I only had a pair of rubber slip-ons with me, comfortable enough for short walks, but not suitable for attending classes. I needed to find a proper pair of shoes that would be both comfortable and appropriate for everyday use. Justine, too, was looking for a new pair of sneakers. She had been eyeing a specific model from New Balance, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity to find them. We eventually found what we were looking for, and she was able to get 2 pairs of shoes for the price of one. A great deal. I also found a pair that suited my needs: simple, comfortable, and functional. We spent some time walking around the outlet mall, browsing through various stores. However, we didn't buy much. Since none of us were currently working, we were conscious of our spending and limited ourselves to the essentials. It was enough just to look around and enjoy the atmosphere without feeling the need to purchase more than we needed. Eventually, we made our way to the food court for lunch. I chose Chinese food, drawn in by the familiar aromas. The meal was delicious. I had sweet and sour chicken along with another pork dish. The serving size was generous, more than enough to satisfy my hunger. The flavors were comforting and familiar, a welcome taste of something I had enjoyed many times before. The combination of warmth, flavor, and familiarity made the meal especially enjoyable, and I left the table feeling full and satisfied. Our last stop for the day was IKEA. We took the chance to pick up some essentials, drawers for our clothes, a table for work, and a simple rack to hang our clothes. By then, we were already tired, so we didn't take any footage. We just focused on finding the most affordable and practical options to help us settle in and get organized. That wraps up our day. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the video.
So may igso nun ma nanay po igso na ni Golden there.